Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Christian. So I got to be familiar with Christian just a few years ago because I had spoken to some local communities, and they had just been super happy with their clients' experience after Christian moved them. And so, Christian, tell us a little bit about what made you choose to work with seniors rather than focusing on just a more general mover.
So I came from the lawn care industry, and as you can imagine, that was a very competitive industry. And I myself am a very detailed person. I like to spend some extra time making sure things are appropriate and correct, and to be able to compete in that against people that would do, just a sufficient job, but not over the top, was rather tough and not my style. So when I got into moving, I got into senior moving through my sister, and we got a couple jobs, and we ended up sticking, and being able to read the room and understand people's situations, I noticed was like adamant for every customer. And doing that and getting through some of those jobs, I've never found a more appreciative group and a niche that was so needed. I mean, this isn't even a want. This is a need, and a lot of people that we work with don't quite understand that until we get into the job and finish it. So I got into moving, and I love this job. So that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, it really is. It is so different. And when I've worked with Christian and his team, and it's a very family, got lots of people in your family helping out, which is just awesome. I mean, it really, we come around a client, and just that client knows that they are special and that they will get great care. So what are some of the things that you do with a client prior to the move to help that move day go more smoothly? And what does that timeline usually look like?
So typically, moving is kind of anxious, not sure what you're getting into. And so it's always nice getting called ahead of time before a move. A lot of people tend to call us anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks before. I recommend that 3+ week window. And so I like to meet with my client, and I spend a good hour with them, just getting to know them, getting to know who they are, asking what they're trying to accomplish. And sometimes they don't give me the answers or tell me what they really need, but I can see it. And so I can make a game plan knowing what they actually do need and make them feel comfortable, kind of turn the situation into a positive, give them a lot of peace of mind. And so when move day comes, we already got them on the good side and looking forward to it. And by the time we get it wrapped up, we take something that wasn't so much of a fun situation to know you got to deal with and get into, and make it a very positive ending. So.
Yeah, most people I work with are not excited about moving. It's usually pretty stressful. So take us through a typical move day. Like, what time do you start? How many people are usually there that are involved? What are different people doing? What are some of the extra things that you do for clients to make sure that they settle in well on the other end?
All right, so a typical move day, we've had our initial meet. We've spoke on the phone a couple times before, just answering little questions or added things or subtracted things. And we usually start at about 9 a.m., but we're willing to start whenever. And I got 2 crews, so depending on the size of the job, I like to get in and get it done. I don't like to make my clients do a whole 12-hour day of moving. Nobody you know, if the movers are getting tired, then you guys are definitely feeling it. So we like to get in. If it needs packing, we pack the day before or 2 days before, and then the movers arrive the next day at about 9 a.m. We pack the trucks. We take care of like the bedding and the bathroom stuff, the clothing that we left for the next day. All those little details are there, and then we get all the items over before noon. We get all the boxes in, and the ladies start unpacking and putting things in their appropriate place. Very similar to these ladies here. They're way ahead of the ball. So I'm sure I can learn a lot from them, but all the little details aren't overlooked. Like your favorite coffee mug isn't going to go in a cabinet that you can't reach. All your plastic Tupperwares with plastic Tupperware. A lot of that stuff is downsized in the process so that it all fits when we do get there. Your clothing is with springtime clothes and color coordinated. Your bedding is put on the bed clean, even if we have to wash it. We do all those little things. So by the time that we're all wrapped up, you guys are ready to be tucked in and go to bed. So,
which is actually perfect. So I realize that every move and every client's very unique. So how do you charge for your services? And are you generally able to give people a realistic range of what the move is going to cost after you've done that initial consultation and walkthrough?
So every person's situation is different. Some people are a little more put together and organized and ready to go. The more that you are, it's easier to get a specific price. So if I come in and, you know, we'll organize that, we'll organize this, my kids are taking this away, my kids are taking that away. It's hard to put a price on that because not all the time that goes down just as we're talking. So what I do like to do is give a range, because nobody likes surprises, especially me, because I got a lot of people to pay. So I've been doing this for long enough I was always very good at being accurate in that realm. So the initial walkthrough, that hour that we spend and we get to know each other, I'm processing a lot of that information. So by the time we're done with that, I can give you a very realistic timeline and goals to hit with a value and price attached to that.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. What I have found with, many people who are actually very organized, but everything's tucked away in closets. But as you start going through closet after closet after closet, I mean, it's amazing how much those things can add up when you walk into a seemingly very organized home. But if you're truly moving a lot of that stuff, that really does add up. So having an idea of not just the furniture, but all the basement, all the garage, all the outbuildings like Susie was talking about, all that can really, really add a lot of cost.
Yeah,
So.
the moving's the easy part. It's what these girls are doing is the time-consuming and most needed, really. I mean, I think that's the difference between, a service company like ourselves and what you may call as a moving company, and why, not just to sell what we do, but it's really, there's a big difference between hiring a normal moving company and hiring a senior moving company, somebody who looks at all those details and doesn't just come in and plop a box there for you to take care of.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to stress is that by downsizing your items beforehand and working with people like this who are specific to working with seniors, one of the best ways to lessen the cost, the time, and the stress of your move is to not move things that you don't need. So that is so important, and if you just call up a basic moving company, they're not going to take you through those steps. They're simply going to move it all, and I'm telling you, for those of you who take the time to downsize your items, it is going to save you time, money, effort, stress, all the way around. It's just a better situation when you're ready to kind of tackle this stuff beforehand. So, Christian, can you talk about some of the most challenging situations that you might have encountered while moving people? And what suggestions do you have for clients that they can really, help be prepared for a move?
Well, I'd say that the challenging part is that emotional attachment to things that may have not even been used in years and years. And we deal with that on a daily basis. So every day is a challenge. But the rewarding part is to take something like that where people are uneasy about what's about to happen, and one day later, a week later, whatever it is, they feel all that peace come inside them that this is over with, and it looks so good, and I feel like a weight off my shoulder. So our jobs are tough. They're not easy, but are they rewarding? I've never seen something so rewarding emotionally. So we've been in quite a few of those situations where there's items everywhere. So if that gives any of you guys any peace of mind, I'm sure there's a lot worse that we've dealt with than what anybody else is getting into. So.
Well, I find that often we are taking someone from a situation where it's become somewhat unsafe for multiple reasons. It might simply be that the house is just, has stairs, has a laundry that's in the basement. It might be because the home has too much stuff. There can be a number of reasons. And moving is such a stressful thing, but it's almost more stressful to think about it than it is to actually do it when you have the right team in place. And that's one of the things that I'd love to stress to all of you is the fact that, 9 out of 10 seniors that I work with, when the move is all done and when they're settled in their new place and their coffee cup is put away and they're looking at their pictures and they're like, why didn't I do this sooner? And I hear that all the time. It really is amazing when you go from lots of stress in contemplating and thinking about the move to actually having the move behind you, and your biggest decision that day might be to have dessert at lunch or at dinner. It can make a big difference, or what fun thing to do that day. So, Christian, do you have any tips that you'd love to share with family members who are considering helping a parent transition that would help things go more smoothly? Absolutely.
So, just getting started. The hardest thing about anything is to get started. And I don't know, my dad always told me how to eat an elephant, and it's one bite at a time. So, and we've ran into a few elephants, I'd say. But if you can get started ahead of time and try to figure out what really isn't coming with you. And the more you can donate, the more you can give away to your kids, to friends, to people who could appreciate it in the future, the more that you can do that ahead of the move date, I think brings a lot of peace of mind to most people. But just getting started, that's my biggest advice, is get ahead of it. Call us if you need help, and know that you have those options out there like that to get some advice, get a little pump up, get ready to go, and know that they got your back. So.
Yep, there are definitely people out there to help you, whether Like all these people said, whether it's a little or a lot, it will be well worth it in the end. You will be thankful to yourself that you allowed yourself to not try and go it alone. And it does take a village to do a move like this.